Hello, lovely people. I'm Sinead, and welcome. Over the last couple of days, I have been working on Della, and I'm going to share a little bit of that with you. The paint mixing took forever, so I'll do it on fast forward and try to only give you the little tidbits of what I say. Hopefully, that'll work. If it doesn't, I'll figure something else out to convey kind of what was going on there. But yeah, I made some progress. That's awesome. So. Also wanted to say, great big wonderful news for me. Here is this dress is finally finished. The pattern, see, I got the crocheted trim part done. The pattern is finished and up for sale on Fairy Rags. You can simply go in and put in Elwyn Wild in the search, or just Elwyn, and the pattern will come up. And it does fit a bluette. I did not include, I included an old photo, which is not a great one because I don't have a bluette anymore. And, but just to let you know that it does in fact fit bluette. That's who it was designed for, but I'm pleased to see it fits the Elwyn body as well. So if you're interested in knitting that or crocheting the trim, it has instructions for knit trim and crochet trim, so that if you don't crochet, you can still finish it off. That is available and awesome. That was 10 years in the making to get that pattern done, because I started by just documenting what I'd done and thinking, I can do a pattern now, later. Later never came, or took forever to come around, and it still was like I finally said, okay, let's do this, and it still took 2 more years. Just not able to stay focused on it long enough to make it through there. I know why. I blame the spectrum issues. Anyway, let's switch over to showing you what's been going on with the paint mixing. And by the way, those are all oil paints, just in case I don't mention it. I don't think I do. I think I'm very neglectful there. And all natural ingredients on that. Anyway, let's go. So I'm trying to mix up some oil paint here. It is a walnut oil and earth paint tints, the made from bits of dirt, stones. It's a natural pigment. Anyway, so I'm trying to mix it up, and I guess I really should have just gone for a flesh tone and not worried about matching, because the matching really threw me off. I actually have a whole lot more footage than what you're seeing here, and what's here is being sped up so that it doesn't go on forever. But I did spend a lot of time trying to match the porcelain, which was actually not a great idea. It didn't serve any purposes in matching the porcelain, and I had to then put it down, try it on the doll, and it came out pink. It was a pretty pastel pink, but it was still pink, and that's not the direction I wanted to go with arms and legs and whatnot. Anyway, I wanted flesh tone, so spent an inordinate amount of time matching the porcelain and then adding in other pigments like the yellow and the red to try and get it to a flesh tone. And really, that's not how you get there, and I will cover that in the next clip as to what I finally did. But just suffice it to say that what I'm doing here is mostly getting out the lumps. I spend a lot of time getting the lumps of the pigment out, and just trying to match, and color matching is not easy, and I'm actually much better at just going for a color that looks right to me and using it instead of trying to match to something else. And yeah, I haven't spent enough time mixing colors to be any good at matching. Sometimes I can get it and it works perfect, and other times it is just so far off. And this is one of those times where it is just so far off. So I was going to tell you the brand here, and I'm trying to remember, and that's probably not a good thing. Earth, well, that says walnut oil. There. Natural Earth Paint is the brand, and it's where my pigments and my oil came from. Oil has to be boiled in order to, I mean, literally boiled, in order to make it to where it will cure and have a hard surface. And in the U.S., it's customary to do that chemically. This particular supplier does it the old way, and that it is literally being processed in the old fashion, and which is it's not danger free. Apparently, there's some issues with possible explosion if you don't do it right. So I would encourage you to purchase, not try it yourself. But that said, it's my youngest has been using it for oil paintings, and it works great. You do have to be patient with cure times. You do need to possibly not build up your color too much. Like, I know in oil painting, that's part of the thing that you do, is that you build up your color in layers. I'm not any kind of expert on that at all. My mother used to paint with oils, but I've not done it. I've not done any oil paintings at all. My youngest has done them, and they keep it really thin, so that it cures, because the thicker it is, the longer it takes to cure, and the worse it smells. Because there is actually a chemical reaction, a natural chemical reaction that is happening as it cures, and it makes a smell that is kind of awful. So I would say, like, don't do it in home either, in a place where you like put it in a studio to cure, if you can, that you're not spending the whole day in. But anyway, I hope that you kind of get the feel for what's going on here. Wish I'd thought of this sooner, but this jar here wasn't available to me before, and when I started collecting the jars, I forgot totally about mixing the paint so that I didn't have to do it all in the same day and just spend that time mixing the paint and then come back. And one of the things as I look at this doll is that her coloring is very textured, and I'm just not going to accomplish that. And it was a good thing I needed to clean her up, recognize that there was dust that needed to be cleaned off, because it took off the old paint here, which I was debating about taking off. So it took it off, and I don't have to worry about it anymore as a problem. It's one of the things I disliked about the Durhams and doing when I tried the Durhams as a patch is that you had to sand it, and it took off paint all around the crack. And I guess I'm just not very good with keeping the sanding paper off the porcelain. So I have a lot of areas outside where I accidentally removed the fired on paint, which obviously these skid marks here are from her being played with. You know how kids, maybe you don't, this one move where they take the doll and they rub the floor with the doll's face. This doll must have had that happen a lot. Anyway, so I've now got the paint in here. I'm not probably going to record the whole thing. I have to drill some holes in this before I can paint the arms and legs. They all need holes, so I will get her head painted, because hey, now I have a jar and a lid, and I can do one and then the other. That's cool. We will probably opt for a hairstyle just like she had when I Play-Doh patched her head. That covers the patch, which it turns out is not smooth, or the process of using the alcohol took off something that made it look like it was smooth. I don't know. We're not going back now. So yeah, the oil paint here and every paint I have tried has a very flat, you know, single color appearance. And I'm realizing that she was probably fired multiple times with different layers of color. Oh, I hesitate to cover that. In fact, we're not going to. I don't even know if you can see the little scratch there, but I am not going to worry about covering it. Hopefully this lid seals well enough that we don't have any problems with this paint drying out. It is going to take a moment or two, I mean like probably a week for it to cure completely. So she'll need to go find a place to sit. Yeah, it is definitely a different color. Would need to have a redder, kind of more translucent layer put over it. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. Last night when I was drilling out the holes in the arms, I was on the last piece. Like everything had gone great the first 3 pieces, and this 4th piece had a matchstick that had been put in to stabilize the end of the arm because it was having some issues early on, and I thought I'd put it in there far enough down that it wouldn't interfere later with drilling these holes. Unfortunately, when I was sanding, I discovered that it was sticking out just barely, just revealed the end of it, right? And I'm trying to figure out whether to drill it out or to leave it, and I decide that these holes are coming, you know, out not quite centered, so maybe I can get past it. So I put the hole through from partway through from one side and then went the other side, because I thought if I came in, which is how I'd been doing it on the other pieces, just this one it was even more important to come in from both directions and maybe be able to not worry about the matchstick. And also I'm not power drilling this because the power drill was skittering all over the place and it wasn't going well. So I was just kind of hand drilling and using an awl to go in there. And so I've gotten halfway in on this side, or at least almost halfway in, and I can feel with the tip of the awl this matchstick, and I go in the other side and I can feel the tip, the matchstick off to the side, and it feels like it's off to the side. So I go ahead and I decide to try and push through it, just past it, to see if I can get the hole big enough without disturbing it. And as I go past it, the whole top here cracks. So I'm thinking, great, it cracked. What am I going to do? Well, I made the hole bigger so that there wouldn't be stress on the crack. And then I got paper towel and glue and I reinforced the crack, and I have sanded it now. And other than the discoloration, it's looking pretty good. So I will be painting, and my paint was very, very pink. It did not have any fleshy tone to it at all. It just looks pink. So I'm working on trying to make it more flesh tone, and let you know how that goes. So mixing in burnt sienna seemed to be the answer to getting it to a flesh tone. It is not a flesh tone that matches, but it matches a lot better than the bright pink I was getting. It's not bad. It kind of looks like the same color as her chest. It doesn't match her head, but it does match her chest pretty good. But the color came out on, I don't know if you can actually pick up the color here, came out darker on the paper clay, and it probably needed to have, I don't want to say sealer, but maybe a coat of oil or white, I mean, like not regular oil, but the walnut oil that's been, I believe, boiled to make it to where it cures. You can't just use oil in oil paint. It has to be a boiled oil, and usually in the US that's done with chemicals, man-made chemicals, to get that reaction. This is done with a natural method, which I believe is actually boiling. And it's kind of a dangerous, can end up exploding. So it's not something you want to just dive into without knowing that. And I purchased the oil from the same place I got the pigments, and that's Earth Paints. Anyway, this is where we're going to stop because it needs to fully cure. It is not dry yet, and I painted this last night, I think. Maybe it was yesterday afternoon. But it's going to need to cure completely, and then I'm going to look at it and decide whether or not to move on. My guess is I'm going to decide to move on. That I am going to go ahead and put her together and move on with my life. So let's go over and do something else. Well, I thought I was going to follow that up with some sketching because I need to practice drawing simple line drawings for use on the redware. But as soon as I put the camera on it, my mind went blank and I couldn't think of a single thing to draw. And that's just not going to work. Yeah, I need it to be kind of like to flow so that I can continue to talk to you. And if it's not flowing, that's not going to work. So let me see what else I can come up with. I'm going to have to look over in the corner. Well, I had thought that since I have this printed out and prepped for my little scrapbook, which is the Journey Through Time, Grace Marie Fitzpatrick with the Virtual Doll Convention, I thought I'd do the next section for May, and then my book is full. So it's time to make a new book, and that's a little more involved than what I want to do right this minute, because I have a suitcase that has been waiting. It's all cut out. Again, this is from the Virtual Doll Convention, and I took it and made it larger than the printable because I wanted some variety in my luggage size. And what I'm going to do is cut a piece of cardstock to fit the 4 pieces that go, basically around the suitcase, and then a one for, so you don't do 2 here, you would just do 1 square piece for each side. Rectangle, they're rectangles. And for the handle, I like to give it a little bit of bulk by putting some of the chipboard layered. I don't know if you can see that, but I've got 2 layers of chipboard on here. One is smaller than the other, which will kind of give a rounded appearance when I glue this over it, like so, and then trim it up to match. I want to pre-fold this before starting to glue the chipboard on. And it's actually easier, since, the marking's on the outside, to take and just do the folding in the opposite direction of what you want against a ruler. Boy, that one just did not want to bend. And then take it and fold in the direction that you want it to fold. That was a lot easier. Then, obviously, gonna turn it over and start applying the chipboard pieces on here. And we have the fold lines to help us keep everything where it needs to go now. And I have been trying to come up with what I wanted to do down on that bottom floor, and it's been well, it's been like I have too many options. So one of the things that I have settled on is making a desk, and so I will do that next Friday. I am going to use a combination of cardstock and cardboard. Not cardstock and cardboard. Let's try that again. A combination of cardboard and wood, basswood. I think I've got that one off center. Just let's start wrong. Peel it up. Try again. Right? There we go. That's better. So a chair and a desk are, and the desk is just going to be a table. It is not going to be anything with drawers, although, boy, that would be cool. I'm not quite sure I want to do that, though. I like the idea of the table because it can be more versatile. I mean, I can decide it's not a desk anymore and just use it as a table. So that's what, and I wanted to have it be a little more sturdy than cardboard legs were going to give me. So anyway, that's what we're going to do on Friday, is work on creating a table desk. Let's see if that's going to fold. Yay! Everything's wanting to curl a little bit. And then Radar just heard an airplane, so he's going to start barking. Hopefully he realizes it's not a threat. I've been doing a lot of redware designs and, well, doing the decorations on the tumblers, mugs, that sort of thing. And it's all stuff that is just strictly our idea. I mean, like Arthur and Joey making requests of me to do certain designs. It's not designs that have been done before by Darby. That one's a little, okay, we're there. It's a little stiff. So, you know, there's that challenge of staying on top of that when they bring home, like Joey brought home 5 cups and no handle material to turn them into mugs or anything like that, and just said, do whatever you want. And I was like, oh, I wanted to do a face on there, but you know, you didn't bring, I wanted to do a face mug, but they didn't bring the handle material, so that's out. And oops, I forgot, we got an oops here. So before placing this, let's see, I got to get that tab in here. So sometimes I make these where they can open, but I've kind of fallen out of love with doing that because their clothes, so little fits in them that it just kind of doesn't work for me anymore. Anyway, so, oh, have I wandered away? Double check, see if we're lined up. Ooh, we are. That's cool. And then try and get, I'm gonna squish this flat. I'll try to. I feel like something's not moving with me. I have to add glue there. I don't know. Anyway, it's all stuff I can do, but you don't realize how out of practice you are in just coming up with stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, so when I put the pieces in the ends, it'll help keep it square. Yeah, I haven't, man, when I was a kid, I drew all the time. That was just an absolute passion. I was always drawing. And it's kind of odd how it just stopped being a thing. And I stopped drawing entirely. Come on. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the other end now. I may have done this in the wrong order. Couldn't remember how I did it last time, so we were just winging it here anyway. I hope the last one doesn't fall into the box. That'll be frustrating. And if you don't practice your drawing, well, your drawings can look like really weird. Really bad, actually. And, you know, if what you're going for is kindergarten art, you know, there's that. What is it? I can't remember the name of the artist, but he said it took him a lifetime to get back to viewing things with a child's view. And his art was definitely looked like a kindergartner did it. Got glue where I didn't want it. Just trying to push that down. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to do that on this other end, so... Oh my goodness. I can feel there. So this might not go all that great. It may go poorly. I don't know. We're going to have at least one tab kind of sort of pressed into place. There we go. That's the idea. Just work with me here. Guess there's not much more to say about that. Do you draw? Have you stayed on top of it? I'm sure it's much like writing. You know, if you write, you do it all the time. It's something you do. If you sew all the time. Well, not all the time. But you knew a lot. And I used a thinner glue for this instead of the fast grab. Fast grab tends to, the tacky glue tends to leave lumps of the glue unless you spread it out, which, as you can see, I didn't. I was kind of rushing along, slapping this together. And see how it's peeling up right here? I'm going to wait for it to set up, and then I'll tack that down. And there we go. So I guess what I'm asking is, what's your hobby of choice that you spend most of your time working on it? Maybe you're a bird watcher. Always found that would be kind of fun to just sit and watch what the birds are doing. Oh, and our birds are, I posted some pictures about it. I don't know if I mentioned it on the channel here. We had some juncos move into the garbage can shed. Actually, it's a tent of sorts, and the front flap was rolled up, and they built their nest on top of that rolled up front flap, which is kind of funny because that is where the tree frogs have been hiding, is inside that flap. We find that we don't have to close it to protect the garbage cans from blowing away, which is the whole point of it, is to contain the garbage cans so they don't get carried off in a windstorm. Anyway, so we had these juncos, and they laid eggs, and they had what looked like 4 little babies, but the rain turned nasty on us. We had a nice rainstorm come in, and we weren't spending a whole lot of time outside observing. I looked out the window at one point, and I saw a junco in the dandelions picking up seeds. And to be honest, I don't know whether it was one of the babies or whether it was one of the parents, because by this point, the babies were big enough that they were probably gonna, I had already decided they were probably gonna fly soon. Anyway, that's the last I saw of the junco family doing anything. The next time I went out, when there was a break in the rain, the nest was empty, and they had all flown. So after this dries, I will then put the effort into curving it and then folding the flaps up and putting it in place. And I'll probably just glue it. No, I want to do the same thing I did on the other one, which is I attached a loop through this hole, a metal loop, and then put a tab piece down to hold the metal loops on here so that it had some motion to it. So that's what I'll do. I may trim it up some more. But there we go. That is our suitcase. Oops. And I think this one is going to get some travel stickers. See what I can find in the printables. We had some travel stickers in there. And maybe I have some stuff in the drawer. Who knows? I know I have full-size ones, but you never know. I might have some miniature ones in there somewhere. I hope you have a delightful day and a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.